Well, good morning. I'm up early today working on this really interesting project that I'm going to share with you today. So I've discovered this tool through a friend of mine, and the name of the tool is Notebook LM, and it has the ability to create a AI generated podcast conversation between two AI voices. And I would like to share, um, this conversation with you today. And although there are some odd moments where some of the pronunciation may be, a little bit off, generally speaking, they do a fantastic job. And yeah, I would just love to know what you think. So feel free to, drop a comment below on this video and let me know what your thoughts are. I have been thinking about doing a few other deep dives like this just to, get different perspective on what my books are about and how they can be helpful to you. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, I will talk to you soon.
All right. Are you ready to unlock some serious life hacking wisdom? Because today we're diving deep
Oh, absolutely.
into Always Improving Lessons from the Samurai by Steve M. Beauchamp.
This book, it's such a unique blend of, ancient philosophy
Yeah.
and modern self-improvement techniques.
Right.
Steve doesn't just throw around like samurai jargon.
Yeah.
He makes it surprisingly relevant to
Oh, yeah.
modern life.
Exactly. And the story of how he even discovered this path is fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
So picture this, like a young bank employee, right?
Yeah.
Caught in a terrifying armed robbery.
Yeah, this experience, which Steve calls his 8-second life changer,
Oh, wow.
is such a powerful example of how, like, a traumatic event
Yeah.
can shape our journey.
Right.
In those 8 seconds of sheer terror, like, Steve's world shifted.
I can't even imagine. He could
Uh-huh.
have easily let that trauma,
Oh, yeah,
define him.
for sure.
But instead, it sparked a search for
Yeah.
something more, a way to reclaim
Yeah.
his sense of control and purpose.
It's in this search that Steve discovers the Bushido,
Okay.
the ancient warrior code of the samurai.
Okay, so now you might be thinking,
Huh.
what does usersimile, like swordsmanship, have to do with my life?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because that's kind of where I was.
Yeah.
But the Bushido goes
Right.
way beyond, like, fighting techniques.
Oh, for sure.
It's a whole philosophy for living,
Yeah.
a set of virtues
Yeah.
designed to cultivate,
Huh?
resilience,
Yeah.
discipline,
Yeah.
and inner strength.
And this is where Steve's deep dive gets really interesting.
Okay.
He realized that these ancient virtues,
Hmm.
like courage, compassion, self-control,
Yeah.
they could be applied to overcome his trauma
Okay.
and build a more fulfilling life.
That's a great point because so often we think of
Yeah.
self-improvement as this individualistic pursuit.
Totally.
But Steve's approach
Yeah.
emphasizes the importance of connecting with something larger than ourselves.
It does. And Steve doesn't just tell us about these virtues.
Right.
He weaves in these personal stories
Yes.
and real-world examples
Yes.
to show how they play out in everyday life.
I love that. And like his experience with
Um,
this controlling leader he was coaching named Anton.
Okay.
Steve initially found Anton incredibly frustrating,
Right.
but instead of writing him off,
Uh-huh.
he dug deeper.
Read it.
And through this process, Steve discovered that Anton's behavior stemmed from
Right.
fear and insecurity, not malice.
Yeah.
It was a powerful reminder that sometimes, like,
Oh.
the people who are the hardest to work with are simply struggling in their own way.
They are, yeah.
That must have been a huge shift in perspective for Steve.
Totally, totally.
Instead of getting caught up in the frustration,
Uh-huh.
he chose compassion.
Exactly. And this act of compassion
Right.
allowed him to connect with Anton
Yeah.
on a deeper level and ultimately help him become a more effective leader.
So it makes you wonder,
Right.
how often do we misinterpret other people's actions because we're not seeing the whole picture?
It's a great question to ask ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
How can we bring more compassion
Right.
into our interactions, especially when we're faced with like
Yeah.
difficult people or situations?
It reminds me of that saying, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be
Yeah.
kind. Always.
I love that one.
Right.
Compassion isn't just about being nice.
Right.
It's about understanding where people are coming from,
Yeah.
even when their behavior is challenging. It's about recognizing our shared humanity.
And that ties into another Bushido virtue that Steve highlights,
Okay.
courage.
Uh-huh.
We often think of courage as this grand act of heroism, right?
Right.
But Steve demonstrates that courage can also be found
Yeah.
in those everyday moments when we choose to, like step outside our comfort zone. Yes.
To speak our truth.
Absolutely.
Or to stand up for what we believe in. And sometimes courage means admitting when we're wrong.
Yes.
Even when it's scary.
It is.
He shares a story about a near disastrous climbing trip where his mentor made like a potentially dangerous mistake.
Right.
Instead of trying to downplay or hide the error, the mentor immediately owned up to it, saying,
wow,
well, I fed up, but we will figure this out.
that takes guts.
Right.
It's so easy to get defensive when we make a mistake.
Oh, absolutely.
But his mentor's response is such a powerful example of how to lead with honesty and accountability.
It creates an environment of trust and respect where people feel safe.
They do.
To admit their mistakes and learn from them.
Absolutely. This is courage in action.
Yeah.
Not the absence of fear,
Right.
but acting despite it.
Yes.
And it sets a powerful example for others to follow. It also makes you think about how we respond to mistakes in our own lives.
Right.
Do we try to sweep them under the rug, or do we own up to them and use them as opportunities for learning?
It's a question worth pondering.
Absolutely.
We can all benefit from cultivating more courage in our lives, both big and small.
Yeah. So we've talked about compassion and courage.
Yeah.
But how do we actually develop these virtues? Is it something we're born with, or can we learn to be more compassionate and courageous?
That's where the concept of self-control comes in.
Okay.
Now, before you roll your eyes,
Okay.
self-control in the Bushido isn't about deprivation or becoming some emotionless robot.
That's a relief because I love my chocolate and occasional Netflix binge.
Exactly.
So we're good.
It's about understanding our impulses and making conscious choices that align with our values. It's about finding that balance between discipline and self-care.
I like that because, it's not about being restrictive. It's about finding that sweet spot.
Yes, exactly.
That reminds me of that story that Steve tells about the Zen master and the 3 cats.
Oh, yes, the samurai who was struggling with a rat infestation.
Right.
He tried everything to get rid of them, but nothing seemed to work.
Nothing was working.
Finally, he went to a Zen master for help.
Okay.
And the Zen master gave him a cat.
Oh.
A very lazy cat.
A lazy cat to get rid of the rat.
And the samurai was so confused. Like, how is this sleepy cat going to solve my problem?
Totally.
But he took the cat home. And to his surprise, it was incredibly effective at catching the rats.
Okay.
It turns out the cat wasn't lazy at all.
All right.
It was simply observing, conserving its energy,
Okay.
and choosing its moments to act with precision.
So it's strategic.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's a brilliant metaphor for the power of self-control.
Yeah.
It's not about brute force or constantly being on.
Right.
Sometimes the most effective approach is to be still, observe, and choose our battles wisely.
This is like a whole other level of self-improvement.
It is. It also highlights the importance of strategy and intentionality.
It's not just about working harder, it's about working smarter. So how do we apply this Zen cat wisdom to our own lives? How do we cultivate that sense of self-control and intentionality?
Well, Steve offers a powerful tool in the book.
Okay.
The Japanese concept of hansei.
Okay, hansei.
Yes.
That sounds intriguing.
Hansei is a form of self-reflection.
Okay.
It's about taking the time to honestly examine our actions and choices, identifying areas where we can improve and grow.
Okay.
Steve provides a set of questions in the book to guide our own hansei practice.
So it's like a personal debrief after a mission, analyzing what went well, what could have been better, and extracting key lessons for the future.
Precisely. It's a practice that encourages continuous learning and improvement.
Yeah.
Just like Steve's overall philosophy of always improving.
This is getting me really excited to dive into the rest of the book.
Yeah.
What other gems of wisdom are waiting for us?
Well, there's a lot more to unpack.
Okay.
From the importance of mentorship and finding connection through nature to Steve's unique perspective on achieving work-life harmony.
This is already so much more than just another self-improvement book. It's like a treasure chest of practical wisdom
Totally.
and actionable advice all wrapped up in these captivating samurai stories.
For sure.
I can't wait to see where this deep dive takes us next.
Me too.
This is exciting.
That you pumped.
I know, me too. And speaking of work-life harmony, Steve has a fascinating take on this concept.
Okay.
He draws a parallel to the samurai's pursuit of chakwa.
Yeah, which translates to like harmony or balance.
It makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
These warriors weren't just about like brute strength. They understood the importance of balance in all aspects of their lives.
And Steve argues that achieving like true work-life harmony isn't about rigidly dividing our time or striving for some like unattainable ideal.
It's more about finding that sweet spot where our work energizes us and our personal life fuels our creativity and passion.
I like that, a sweet spot.
Right.
It's about recognizing that these two spheres aren't mutually exclusive.
Right.
They can actually complement and enhance each other.
So it's not about compartmentalizing, but rather finding ways to integrate
them
so that each part supports and nourishes the others.
And that requires a certain level of self-awareness, like knowing our limits and prioritizing what truly matters.
Which brings us to another key virtue that Steve explores, integrity.
Integrity.
Ah, integrity.
Yes.
That word gets thrown around a lot, but what does it actually mean in the context of the Bushido?
In the Bushido, integrity is about being true to yourself, your values, and your word. It's about living in alignment with your principles, even when it's difficult.
It's easy to talk about integrity in the abstract, but how do we actually cultivate it in our daily lives?
Well, Steve breaks it down into 3 Japanese concepts.
Okay, hit me.
Shoshin, Mushin, and Zanshin.
Okay, those are some serious sounding words.
Yeah, they are.
Let's break those down.
Okay. Shoshin. Shoshin translates to beginner's mind.
Okay.
It's about approaching everything with a sense of curiosity and openness. Even if you're an expert in your field.
I can see how that would be important.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's easy to get stuck in our routines and assumptions.
For sure.
But Shoshin encourages us to stay curious and keep learning.
It does. And it prevents us from becoming complacent.
Right.
Or close off to new possibilities.
So we've got the beginner's mind.
Yes.
What about Mushin? What's that all about?
Mushin can be translated as mind of no mind.
Mind of no mind?
It's a state of flow where you're acting like instinctively without overthinking or hesitation.
Ah, like that feeling when you're so engrossed in something that you lose track of time.
Yeah.
You're just completely in the zone.
You're in the zone, yeah.
Right.
Steve compares it to like a samurai who's trained so rigorously that they can react without hesitation.
Wow.
Even in a life or death situation.
That's a powerful image.
It is.
So Mushin is about trusting our instincts and letting go of the need to like overanalyze everything.
It is. It's about cultivating that sense of effortless action where our skills and knowledge just flow naturally.
Okay, and lastly we have Zanshin.
Right.
What is the significance of this concept?
Zanshin is about remaining alert and aware even after you've achieved success or overcome a challenge. It's about staying vigilant and not letting your guard down.
So it's not about being paranoid, but rather maintaining a sense of awareness of our surroundings and potential obstacles.
It is. It's about being present in the moment and ready to like respond effectively to whatever comes our way.
I love how these 3 concepts work together.
I do.
We start with a beginner's mind. We cultivate a state of flow. And then we remain alert and present. It's like a recipe for success in any area.
Any area of life. And Steve illustrates these principles beautifully through his own experiences, particularly his passion for mountain climbing. He talks about how these mindsets have helped him navigate like challenging climbs and achieve his goals.
Speaking of goals, Steve also touches on the importance of mentorship.
He does.
And learning from those who have walked the path before us.
That's right. He emphasizes that we don't have to figure everything out on our own. There's so much wisdom to be gained from seeking out mentors and being open to learning from their experiences.
This reminds me of that famous African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to go far, go together.
I love that one.
And mentorship isn't just about receiving guidance. It's also about giving back and supporting others' journeys.
It's a beautiful cycle of learning and growth where we all have something to teach and something to learn.
And speaking of learning, Steve challenges some common productivity myths in the book, particularly the idea of multitasking.
Oh, yeah.
He argues that trying to juggle multiple tasks at once actually makes us less efficient and effective.
It does. It does.
He uses the analogy of hell, like climbing a mountain.
Okay.
You wouldn't try to check your email and plan your next meeting while scaling a sheer cliff face, would you?
Oh, no. Not a good idea.
Not at all.
When we try to do too many things at once, we just end up spreading ourselves thin and not giving our full attention to anything.
So it's about prioritizing, focusing on one task at a time and giving it our full presence and energy.
Being intentional with our time and energy,
Right, and this ties into another virtue that's often misunderstood.
Okay,
Loyalty.
Loyalty,
Now, loyalty in the Bushido isn't about blind obedience or unquestioning allegiance. It's about a deeper sense of commitment and dedication to a cause or a person, a willingness to make sacrifices for something greater than yourself.
That's right.
And Steve illustrates this beautifully with the story of the 47 group of samurai who avenged their master's death, even though it meant risking their own lives.
It's a powerful story.
That is.
Honor, sacrifice, and unwavering loyalty
it is.
that has captivated people for centuries.
It really has.
It reminds us that true loyalty involves courage, integrity, and a deep sense of purpose.
It also raises questions about the nature of justice and the lengths we're willing to go to for those we care about.
It does. And while most of us won't face such extreme circumstances.
Yeah, thankfully.
The story of the 47 Rin invites us to reflect on our own loyalties. It does.
What are we truly dedicated to? And what sacrifices are we willing to make for those we believe in?
These are questions that can really make you think.
They do.
About your own values and priorities.
Absolutely.
And it leads us to another essential virtue.
It does.
For navigating the complexities of modern life. Self-control.
Self-control. We've already touched on self-control.
We have.
In the context of the Zen cat story.
We did.
But what other insights does Steve offer on this virtue? Steve reminds us that self-control in the Bushido isn't about suppressing our emotions or denying ourselves pleasure.
Well, that's good to hear because a life without any fun sounds pretty bleak to me.
Right. It's about, finding that balance between discipline and enjoyment.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we find that balance?
It's about making those conscious choices, right, that align with our values and our long-term goals.
Okay.
Even when they require us to, like...
delay gratification or resist temptation.
Yeah, this makes me think about all those times I've hit the snooze button.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of getting up for my morning run.
Yeah.
It's like I'm letting my desire for comfort just override my commitment to fitness.
It's a struggle we all face.
It is.
But the more we practice self-control in those small everyday moments, the easier it becomes to make choices that support our well-being and help us reach our full potential.
So it's almost like we're training our self-control muscle.
Exactly, like a muscle.
And Steve, does he offer any practical tips for developing that self-control?
Yeah, he offers a lot of really practical tips like setting clear boundaries, creating routines, and finding healthy ways to manage stress.
Okay, so it's like a holistic approach.
It is. It's not just about willpower. It's about creating like a supportive environment for yourself.
And he also emphasizes the importance of self-reflection.
Yes, he does.
And using Hansei to identify our triggers and develop strategies for overcoming them.
That's right.
It's like having a personal coach in your back pocket,
yeah,
helping you stay on track and make progress.
Exactly.
Towards your goals.
And speaking of goals,
okay,
Steve doesn't just focus on achieving external success.
Right.
He also emphasizes the importance of cultivating inner peace.
Inner peace.
Yeah.
That elusive state we all crave
in
this crazy, chaotic world.
But Steve reminds us that inner peace
Yeah.
isn't about finding some permanent state of bliss.
Right.
Or escaping from the challenges of life.
Yeah, because that's not realistic.
It's not. It's more about
Okay.
learning to navigate those challenges with grace and resilience.
Yeah.
Finding a sense of calm amidst the storm.
So it's more about like acceptance.
It is. He describes it as a process of self-discovery, growth, and acceptance.
Right.
It's about knowing yourself.
Okay.
Embracing your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And striving to live authentically.
This resonates deeply with me.
It does, yeah.
It's not about pretending everything is perfect,
Yeah.
but rather about finding that inner strength to weather the ups and downs of life.
Right. And Steve highlights a few key practices for cultivating inner peace, including spending time in nature, practicing mindfulness, and finding purpose and meaning in our lives.
I love that he emphasizes that connection to nature.
Oh, too.
There's something so grounding and restorative about being outdoors, surrounded by like trees and fresh air.
He even talks about the Japanese concept of Shinrin-yoku. Which translates to forest bathing.
Tourist bathing, I love that.
It's about immersing yourself in the sights, sounds, and smells of the forest.
Right.
Allowing yourself to disconnect from the stress of daily life and reconnect with something larger than yourself.
This reminds me of all those times I've gone for a hike in the woods and just felt my worries melt away.
Oh, yeah.
It's like nature has this magical ability to soothe our souls and bring us back to a state of balance.
And Steve also emphasizes the importance of human connection.
Yeah.
He encourages us to seek out mentors. And to serve as mentors for others.
Yeah.
Creating a circle of support and shared wisdom.
It's like that saying, each one, teach one.
Exactly.
We all have something valuable to offer, and we can all benefit from the guidance and support.
Again, it's about recognizing our interconnectedness and creating a community where we can learn, grow, and thrive together.
Wow, we've covered so much ground in this deep dive, from facing down armed robbers to scaling mountains, from ancient samurai wisdom to modern productivity hacks. This book truly has something for everyone.
So what resonated most with you?
I know, right? What are you going to take away from this deep dive and apply to your own life?
Remember, those cherry blossoms the samurai so eloquently wrote about.
Yes.
Life is fleeting.
It is.
But even small, consistent efforts towards self-improvement can create ripples of positive change.
If you're ready to embark on your own journey of always improving, Steve's book is a fantastic place to start.
It is a great place to start. And he even includes a workbook with practical exercises to help you put these principles into action.
So cool.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Yes.
Keep learning.
Absolutely.
And keep diving deep.
Love it. Love it.